I welcome you to another encouraging word of the week. And this week, the word simply is prayer. I think you know what that is, a wonderful tool that God has given to us. Well, sometimes we get into the scriptures and we hear some things about prayer, and it goes right by us because we begin to think about other things that are being said in that passage. Now, back in the day that Jesus was walking this earth, people would go into the temple and they would bring sacrificial animals, doves and so on and so forth, and they would sell them. If the other people didn't have, they would sell them. And Jesus said this was wrong. So he comes in to the house of God, the temple of God, and this is what takes place as we hear it from Matthew, in Matthew 21, starting with the 12th verse. It says here, "And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves." Now, we sometimes emphasize that so much that we forget the point that Jesus was really trying to make. Today, some people don't want things sold within their church because they say that Jesus didn't want this. Well, it was the attitude. It was the reason that they were selling things that Jesus was upset by. And also, he was upset in the fact that they were taking their time to do this thing, okay, to make money, okay, and forgetting what that house was really made for, what it was built for, what it really meant to the believers. For he goes on to say in the 13th verse, "And he said to them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, and you have made it a den of thieves." The emphasis here is that God's house, your local church building, the temple for those in that day in Jerusalem, it then became some synagogues. Today we have church buildings, large and small. Every one of those buildings is the house of prayer. God is not saying, well, you can't sell this, or you can't have a bake sale back in the fellowship hall, or you can't advertise something that's going on and it's going to cost you some tickets. He's not into that. You in your own church can make up your mind what is right and wrong about those things, but emphasize the real important part of this passage, and that is, this is the house of prayer. God wants you to gather in your church and to pray. It's one thing to go to church on a Sunday morning, or to maybe even take in, a little Bible class in a midweek service, but are you spending some time in the house of God in prayer? His house shall be called the house of prayer. Let's make that the house of prayer for each one of us in our local churches. Yes, the key word today is prayer.